Hello, myself Dr. Kalyani, working as Associate Professor in the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Institute of Aeronautical Engineering. In this video, I will discuss regarding Software Process Framework. This topic learning outcome is mapped with Course Learning Outcome CO1, which is identify appropriate process model, approaches and techniques to manage a given software development process. In this video, I will briefly discuss regarding what is software process, how project and processes are related, what are major framework activities, what are the list of umbrella activities. The software process framework is a structured approach that defines the steps, tasks, activities involved in the software development. The software development comprises of various milestones which will result in variety of tasks and activities. So these activities are in a structured framework is defined with the help of software process framework. This framework serves as a foundation for software engineering and guiding development team through various stages to ensure a systematic and efficient process. A software process framework helps in project planning, risk management, quality assurance by dealing the chronological order of actions. So, it is a structured way of software development which will define what are the various tasks, activities and milestones. Not only that, what are the important software quality assurance activities against the specified requirements of the customer is carried out with the help of software process framework. The general structure of software process framework is major framework activities, within that umbrella activities which are nested with the work task, milestone and SKA points of each action are the task set. So it is a collection of task set and each task set comprises of work task, milestones as well as SKA points. The software process generally comprises of the basic components of task. They focus on a small and specific objective. And the action, it is a set of tasks that produce a major work product. Activities are group of related tasks and actions for a major objective. So these are the task set activities for umbrella activities under major software process framework. The key features of process framework is the foundation. It gives a basic structure or template for developing the software. The component and tools. It includes pre-built components and tools that make development faster and easier. Best practices and guidelines. It offers best practices and guidelines to ensure the software is built in an organized and efficient way. And customization. Developers can modify and add functions to customize the framework to their specific needs. So what are major case tools that can assist the software development can be planned ahead with the help of process framework. The advantages of process framework is increased productivity, consistent quality is maintained for the software construction, reduced development time, better maintainability, enhance security, and support the scalability. The major disadvantages are complexity overhead, which means in some cases frameworks introduce unnecessary complexity, especially for the smaller and simpler projects required to follow this framework activity, which reflects the complexity overhead in the project construction. Performance overhead. Using a framework may introduce additional layers of abstraction and overhead in the construction of the project. Vendor lock-in, depending heavily on the specific framework, can lead to vendor lock-in, making it challenging to switch to alternative technologies or frameworks in the future. The factors that are influencing for the selection of process framework is: consider framework language and whether the software is open source or paid framework, and the community and support of technical skills are available or not. Review case studies and example applications. Test the framework yourself. The major framework activities for the software construction are: 5 framework activities are available. One is communication, second one planning, third modeling, fourth construction, fifth one deployment. The communication activity majorly involved the requirement gathering from the customer and conducting of feasibility study, in contrast with operational feasibility, technical feasibility and economic feasibility, and conducting requirement engineering process over collected requirements. All these requirements after the requirement engineering process are documented, and the document is called SRS. The second framework activity is planning. In planning, according to the project objectives and scope, the resources, cost and time must be planned in the planning activity. And what are the software hardware requirement must be planned in the planning activity. And according to the project goals, the modeling framework activity visualize the features of the software project with a set of UML diagrams. According to these requirements that are documented in the SRS, the construction activity develops source code that specified in the software requirement language that is chosen in the previous activities. And this developed source code can be thoroughly tested with variety of levels of testing like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, user acceptance testing, and the thoroughly tested software is deployed in the customer site and user acceptance testing is carried out and maintenance activities are carried out in the deployment framework activity. So the communication activity majorly involves 2 tasks. One is requirement gathering, second one is objective setting. In the requirement gathering, engaging with customers or stakeholders through meetings, interviews and surveys to understand their need and expectations. In the objective setting, clearly defining what the system should achieve based on the gathered requirement of previous framework activity. The second major framework activity is planning, which involves 4 tasks. One is work plan, second one risk assessment, resource allocation and schedule definition. In the work plan, creating a detailed plan that outline the tasks, activities needed to develop the software. In the risk assessment activity, identifying potential technical risks and planning how to mitigate them. The RMM plan is developed in the risk assessment. The resource allocation determines the resources in terms of time, personnel, tools required for the project. The schedule definition setting a timeline for completing different phases of the project so that the project scheduling activity is smoothly carried out with this planning activity. The next framework activity is modeling. The major tasks that are performed in the modeling activity are analysis of requirement and design. In the analysis of requirement, breaking down the gathered requirement to understand what the system need to do. Design activity is creating architectural and detailed design that outline how software will be structured and how it will be function. So the modeling activity generally uses a set of UML diagrams. The best example are UML diagrams that can be used in requirement gathering are generally the use case diagrams. The use case diagram majorly consists of two notations. One is actor or stick figure. Second one is the functionality. This is the example use case diagram for ATM system. Here the actors are the customer, technician and the bank are the actors. So these are the stakeholders. Those can interact and gain benefit of services from the developed software. And the software provides the functionality of check balance checking, depositing funds, withdraw cash. All these are the various modules of the project. And this user, how they are interacting in which module is clearly modeled with the help of use case diagram. One more example is the sequence diagram, which will represent the sequence of activities that are carried with the customers or actors while performing a transaction with the software. So here this is the example of sequence diagram for the ATM. The major objects are the user, ATM and the bank, and how the object is lifeline according to the sequence of activities are carried out is modeled with the sequence diagram. Here the first activity the user must insert a card in the ATM and required PIN must be, the customer must be checked by the bank, and the required PIN is PIN request must be sent to the customer so that the customer can enter the PIN of the ATM card, so that the verification process can be carried out along with the bank. And after customer is verified, the withdrawal action must be taken place. So along with the object lifeline, how the events or sequence of activities are carried out in order to perform one transaction of withdrawal of money from the ATM is modeled easily with the sequence diagram. Not only that, variety of UML diagrams are available like class diagram, object diagram, state chart diagram. By using these diagrams, the features and functionality of the system is easily modeled. Next framework activity is the construction activity, which involves two tasks. One is code generation, second one is testing. So in the code generation, writing the actual code based on the design models. So by looking into SRS and the design document, developing the source code is the major activity performed in the code generation. After code generation, testing activity is carried out by running tests to ensure the software works as intended, identifying and fixing the bugs in the software with a variety of testing techniques like white box testing, black box, grey box, and variety of levels of testing like unit testing, integration testing, system testing, and user acceptance testing. The last major framework activity is the deployment. The deployment involves three activities: product release, feedback collection, product improvement. In the product release, delivering the software to the users either as a full release or in stages. And feedback collection involves gathering feedback from the users about their experience with the software. The product improvement, making changes and improvements based on user feedback to enhance the product. So these are the 5 framework activities in the process framework. And the popular process framework are available in the market are Angular, React, Django, Flask, Ruby on Rails, Spring, Express, Laravel, and ASP.NET Core. These major framework activities are associated with umbrella activities. The list of various umbrella activities must be involved majorly activities, tasks, and SQA points for each and every activity. The umbrella activities are series of steps or procedures followed by a software development team to maintain the progress, quality, changes, and risks of the complete development task. These steps of umbrella activities will evolve through the phases of the generic view of the software development. Generally, common activities apply to the entire software project and help the software development team to manage and track the progress, quality, changes, and risks of the project development. The umbrella activities are generally risk management to assess the risk and plan the risk mitigation plans, measurement and metrics to quantify the work progress, reusability management, documentation preparation and production, software configuration management or the change management, software quality assurance, formal technical reviews, software project tracking and controlling. The software project tracking and controlling umbrella activity allows the software team to check the progress of the software development. So in the planning activity, the activities time frame are planned. Accordingly, the work products are generated or not is verified with the help of project tracking and controlling. Before the actual development starts, make a software development plan and develop on this basis. But after a certain period of time, it is necessary to analyze the development progress to find out what measures need to be taken. It must be accepted at an appropriate time after the completion of the development, testing, etc. The test results may need to reschedule the development team. Risk management is another umbrella activity. Risk management is focused on series of steps to help software development teams to understand and manage uncertainty. It is a very good idea to identify it, assess the likelihood of it happening, assess its impact, and develop an if the problem does happen contingency plan. So the reactive and proactive risk must be assessed, identified, and a contingency plan is developed in the risk management. Software quality assurance is another umbrella activity which defines and conducts the activities required to ensure software quality. Whether all requirements specified by the customer are satisfied with the development process is verified with the help of SQA activities. The quality of the software, such as user experience, performance, workload flexibility, etc. must be tested and verified after reaching the specified milestones. So, which reduces the task at the end of the development process, which must be performed by a dedicated team so that the development can be continued. Another activity, umbrella activity, is FTR, Formal Technical Review, which is used to assess software engineering work products, is an effort to uncover and remove errors before they are propagated to the next activity. So, software engineering is done in clusters or modules. After completing each module, it is good practice to review the complete module to find out and remove errors so their propagation to the next module can be prevented. Measurement and metric is one more umbrella activity which includes all measurement of all aspects of the software process. So, the work of the software engineer generally comprises in the construction phase, and the measurement that can be used at this phase is the size oriented metrics like lines of code LOC and function points FP. So, these define compile process, project, product metrics to help the team deliver software that meet the needs of the stakeholders. So, it can be used in conjunction with all other framework and general operations. Another umbrella activity is Software Configuration Management (SCM), which is majorly used to bias the requirement changes. So, it manages the impact of changes throughout the software development process. Software Configuration Management is a set of activities designed to manage changes by identifying work products that can be changed, establishing relationships between them, and defining mechanisms for managing different versions of the software. Reusability management is one more umbrella activity which is used to define the standards for the reuse of work products, including the software component, and develop mechanisms to implement reusable components. This includes approval of any part of the backup software projects or any type of support provided for updates, and updates in the future also considered in reusability management. Update the software according to the user or current time requirements. The work product preparation and production is one more umbrella activity which encompasses the activities required to create work products such as the models, documents, logs, forms, and lists. So, the developed project and these process framework activity, how they are related, and the differences between this project and process is depending upon variety of framework activities are the project management and the process management. So, the project management is majorly concentrating on the formal technical reviews or practice daily meetings in order to track the progress of the project, but the process management lists down and standardize the activities that are carried out within the process. But the project management concentrate on log time and expenses, but the process management is creating guidelines for the repetitive process. And the actionable tips in the project management are pre-planning before implementation, but always keep improving whatever the repetitive tasks are there. Those are mitigated, and process improvement is majorly concentrated in the process management. So example of process frameworks or variety of process frameworks are available. Majorly the traditional one is the waterfall framework activity. Next, the agile software development methodology, and the latest one is DevOps. In the waterfall methodology is a linear sequential approach to the software development with distinct phases such as requirement gathering, design, implementation, testing and maintenance. So it is the oldest methodology of the development where no parallel activities or parallel module construction is not supported. So the change of requirement can be very difficult to accommodate in case of this waterfall framework activity. The next advance is the agile software development, which is a flexible, iterative approach to the software development, which has an emphasis on rapid prototyping and continuous delivery. Next, latest advance is the DevOps, is a set of practices that aim to improve collaboration and communication between development and operation teams, which is an emphasis on automating the software delivery process. So in this video, I briefly discuss about what are the major process framework activities, the communication, planning, modeling, construction and testing activities, and after that the umbrella activity, set of 11 umbrella activities are discussed with examples of variety of framework activities. The references that are used in this video are there. Thank you.
Like, share and subscribe. Hit the bell icon for more updates.